always talk about the order of operations of things because real estate at the end of the day is like a bunch of numbers on a sheet. But the most important thing when it comes to rental property investing is your team. So today we're going to talk about how you build the best possible or find the best possible team for buy and hold rental property investors. Welcome everybody to your weekly edition of the Not Your Average Investor Show. Today, I'm your host, Pablo Gonzalez. With me today, they call her the supreme ruler of human resources here at it's human resources and recruitment, and I think queen of recruitment.
I mean, add on all those. I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
Laura McLogan, what's that?
Yeah. Hello, everybody.
Yeah.
Hey, Pablo.
Hey.
Thanks for having me.
Super pumped to have you on.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yep.
I am Laura McLogan. We're gonna get started right meow, right, Pablo?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Right meow.
Yeah.
I've been here for 12 years. I really head up the entire recruiting space, the HR space, and kind of everything in between. Still, rocking and rolling and loving it 12 years later.
Yeah.
So
we're gonna get into like the whole like what it looks like, how it started, and what it all means. This is the last chance that we are going to announce the JWB Not Your Average Investor Summit.
That's right.
To only the community. Starting next week, we're going to start blasting this out, social media, email, all the stuff. There's only 100 tickets. We've already sold somewhere between like a third to a half of them. So we like to just keep this open for the community to like register. So what are the dates? Well, first of all, you go to jwbrealestatecapital.com/summit. You know what? The easiest thing is just to show the website so everybody can see. I'm just going to throw it up here. JWB Real Estate Summit. JWBrealestatecapital.com/summit, February 19th to 21st. We ask that, we start in the 3 p.m. on the 19th. So you're cutting it close if you get here the morning of the 19th. We'd love it if you're here the 18th so we can get rocking and rolling. It's going to be awesome. Only 100 tickets, only for JWB clients. And because you are in the community, you get first access to it with the promo code SUMMIT26. So it's capitalization doesn't matter. You just got to spell Summit right, SUMMIT 26. So make sure that you go, you sign up. I'm pretty sure that within a week, generally, like after, we announce it to the community for a couple of weeks, then like within a week, as soon as we like blast it out over email, fills in, there's a wait list. You don't want to be on that. You don't want to be. You're VIP. You're part of the community.
Get in.
Just get in.
I mean, if you've been to the summit before, it's amazing. You can fill up the chat. I think it's 10 out of 10. Yeah. 10 out of 10, you got to go.
It's all the vibes.
Yeah. It's all the vibes.
It's all the vibes.
Passes all the vibe checks.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what we were, that actually sounds super loud when we do that.
Oh, sorry.
So you got to be careful.
Don't do that.
I'm fidgety. Yeah. Building a team.
Yeah.
One of the things that we're going to talk about in this conversation is this idea that JWB, most real estate investing companies generally start off like a couple of friends doing some real estate deals.
Yeah.
This place was no different.
Yeah.
But when you want to really, reach the level of sophistication where you are creating this consistent experience, delivering returns over the last 20 years, no matter what is happening in the world, people still continue to build their wealth. They can count on their retirement long term. You can only do that with a team, right?
Absolutely.
So when you think of, we're going to talk about this like epic hiring practices that you guys do. It's kind of like American Ninja Warrior meets Take Ben Stein's Money. Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Meets like a crazy quiz show. But why make it, why focus so heavily, right? Like you're the person that kind of like brought the standardization, sophistication to the recruitment, hiring process and all that stuff. Why focus on it so heavily from your angle? Like, why is that so important?
Yeah. I mean, and I'll be, totally honest with you guys. I don't think anything I'm going to say today is going to shatter the earth. I think a lot of this is really at the core of it, a lot of common sense. It's a lot about how you treat people and how you present yourself. And I think those are the types of people that we attract here, right? So it's that authenticity. It's making sure that we're paying attention to how we interact and how we really present ourselves. And it really starts, again, this is basic, right? But it really starts with who are we talking to? So if somebody's wanting to come work for the team, they deserve our time and attention. And I think it really starts with having a really good practice, which again, you mentioned we didn't have when I started. I started in 2013. It was a little more meandering. And so it was really cool to say, hey, we have this. Well, we really don't have it. We kind of have this now, and we want this to be here, and we want to attract the best team in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Like you want to help us do that, and here we are, and we can talk about what that is. But it was really cool to build that piece by piece with having people as the focus, which is it's your greatest investment. So
there's something that landed on me probably about like 4 or 5 years ago, right? Like I was in a conversation with my wife, and we were talking about like all these different things, and we had this realization that kind of like what is most ordinary to us is usually most extraordinary to other people.
100%.
And the other way around, right?
100%.
What's most extraordinary to me is most ordinary to somebody else, right? Like, and I think the way that you're approaching this idea of like, well, I mean, this is obvious, like the way that you treat people really matters. So you want people that treat people really well.
Yeah.
So we're going to treat people really well on the way in.
Yeah.
And we're going to design a process that diagnoses or that is able to like sift through who are the best treaters of people that we can attract and retain.
Yeah.
But what to me is a little bit counterintuitive is like, why make that hard? Because we're going to talk about the process. It's not easy. Why make that hard?
I wouldn't say hard. I wouldn't say it's hard. I would say what we're looking for is motivation. So if you're willing to put in the time, the energy, the focus, and show your motivation, show why you feel like this is a great opportunity for you, a good, mutual fit, those are the folks we want to pay attention to more than just somebody that's, I call it the spray and pray, where it's like, hey, let's just throw out all these resumes and see who wants to hire me. This is not the place that's going to work for you. And again, I interview almost every day. I always stress that it's a mutual fit. So they have put in time and energy and effort. Don't get me wrong. They're doing some steps. They're doing hoops. But we're giving it back to them tenfold, right? So it has to be that mutual motivation that comes together, meets in the middle.
Yeah.
And it's not just they're doing all these things and we're saying, hey, you're going to be a great fit for this role. It's not just role fit. It's kind of that marriage between role and then culture and environment. You can be like the best accountant I've ever talked to, but if this is not your vibe, this is not the environment you want to be around, this is not the culture you want to be with, it's just not going to work, right? So we do all that work on the front end and use your word hard, make it hard, so that we can make it easy once you're here, right? And have fun and get to it. So well said.
I mean, like we on this show we talk a lot about. Obviously, we talk about real estate investing on Jacksonville and market and whatever, but it's a lot about kind of like business strategy in order to make real estate investing work. And one of the things that I most echo with that I think JWB is like a perfect case study of, it's, business is all about putting the right person in the right seat of the right bus. Yeah. And like the skill set might be the right person.
Yep.
The seat is like your role. Yep. The right bus is like, are you on this level, right? Like, are you... Is this your vibe, is the way that you just put it, right? Yeah. Because at the end of the day, another thing we talk about a lot is that like doing business with JWB feels a lot like Chick-fil-A or In-N-Out, where like you walk in and everybody you meet like, oh my God, I didn't expect to meet such a talented person on the phone with me at like a property management company or a real estate investment company. And since JWB is so deliberate about the way that it acts and the way that it plans and the way that it executes things, you want people that are deliberate about what they're spending their time with.
100%.
So you're making sure that they're showing up as like, not the type of person who's like, I just need a job, Mom.
No, not going to work. I think anybody can do anything for a short period of time. Yeah. Albeit, I'm not a surgeon. I'm not going that high level, right? But you can kind of fake it till you make it, fake it till you believe it. But here, it's very important that we start everything with intentionality, and that starts with, again, who we're drawing in towards us, how we're treating them and interacting through the hiring process, the onboarding, the training, and then, you have somebody that's, a stellar employee 5-10 years later doing huge things for our community, for our clients, for our residents. But it starts way at the beginning of that, that intentionality. So
yeah, love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Now let's get into it. Shall we?
Yeah.
All right. First of all, Reggie Fonse just bought his ticket. Reggie, I'm so pumped to see you, man.
Reggie.
I met Reggie out in LA. He didn't come to the last summit because he wasn't a client yet.
Now, look at that.
Investor. Now he's coming. Reggie, super pumped that you're coming.
Awesome.
Man. This
Thank
is like
you.
a really cool piece of your journey. So let's talk about journeys, right? When people start their journey at JWB, I keep teasing this super difficult decathlon of hiring. Tell people what I'm talking about. What does the hiring process look like?
Here? Can I do a little origin story?
You may.
Okay, so when I started, how we brought people on was very different. Like Pablo alluded to, it was a little like friends and family. It was
as a lot of small businesses.
Very common. It's Alex and all his brothers and a couple friends from college, all great, and a lot of those folks are still here. They're phenomenal. But there was no firm, path or plan beyond, a couple very long meandering interviews. We did one off-site. It was a little awkward for me as the person that was interviewing for the role. KJ, who's still here, I rode in her car to this offsite interview, and there was Cheerios in her seat from her daughter, and I'm like, what is this place? What are they having me do? It was a really long interview, one of them, and the questions, it just went on and went on. It excited me after I got the job in the sense that we get to build something that really makes sense from an applicant perspective, because I just went through it. And so now, and it continues to evolve. We are not people that say, well, we did it this way last year. We are only ever going to do it that way. That's not how we operate. We love the change, but we have perfected a process that I think draws in the right people. And that really starts with, obviously, we market our roles and we get them in front of people. And then it's really a series of steps. It starts with showing motivation. So we're having our folks do it's called a predictive index. Have you heard of that?
Yeah,
Have you taken it?
I don't think I've actually taken a predictive index.
I'm going to send it to you.
I would love to.
Okay, I'm gonna send it to you.
Cool.
It's
not cheap. That's why the reason I don't have it in my company.
It's an amazing tool.
Hook it up.
I will hook it up.
Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing. Okay. There's two pieces to it. There's a behavioral assessment, and it's the most wild. It's just a group of words, and you select them. It takes a minute, and then it tells you all about yourself in ways that you would never have put together. It's wild. It's fascinating. We very, very rarely have folks come back to say, that's not me. They're mostly shocked by it. And then there's a cognitive piece as well that really assesses speed of absorption, essentially, with information. So how quickly are you going to be able to pick up that information, run with it, and put it to use? And then they're essentially coming in for a first round interview. We used to do it in person. Now we've moved on to technology has spoken. So we're doing this on a screen, and it's usually myself and a hiring manager, and just doing this.
Yeah,
that's what people want, right?
Yeah.
People are usually a little nervous when they start the interview, and I'm like, hey, we're just going to have a conversation. Just have a conversation about what you're looking for, how this fits for you, what excites you about us, what excites you about the role. And you know what? If we get to the end of that conversation and it's not a fit, that's okay. We're just having a conversation. Let's drop all the worries and the, making sure that you're trying to sell me and I'm selling you. We're just having a conversation. If all goes well on that, we're doing round two, getting this person in front of leadership and doing a similar interview. We're really focusing on a little bit more on that culture piece, that environment piece. Who do you want around you? What does it look like? And then this is the coolest part. If all goes well in second round, they're coming in for a shadow. So they're physically putting eyes on this building and the staff and what do they like and how do they interact with each other. And I think that, to be totally honest, it's way better and more beneficial for the candidate than for us. Great for us. We love to see it. We love to see that person come in, but it really gives the candidate an opportunity to say, is this what I want to do? Are these the people I want to be around? Is this where I see myself long-term? And it's been wild. We love it. It's been a great experience.
I want to dive into those three spots.
Yeah.
Or actually, I want to start a little bit before that. I remember when I was starting my company and I was just trying to figure out who I wanted to be when I grow up. I was like,
have you figured it out?
I think it's that I don't grow up. I remember looking at working at JWB,
I didn't know that.
and there was I remember the first step was like submit an essay of why you're an A player.
Okay.
You guys don't do that anymore?
It's a version of that. So we
Okay.
have a little 3-part questionnaire that
Yeah.
goes along with the predictive.
Yeah,
PI
like
is what I call
who
the
you
predictive
send, who you
index.
send the predictive index to, I guess is the
Yes,
is the
they get that
piece.
little 3-part questionnaire. Yes,
Okay.
and the A player is still on there. We wanted to leave like a little old school part in there, so
Yeah.
that part of the question is still there.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So if people want to apply for a job, it's marketed under the actual job role,
Yep.
and then they're like, I want to do this 3-part questionnaire plus resume,
3-part questionnaire and then the predictive index.
and then predictive index.
Yep, we're using those 2 pieces to then request the resume. So that's usually weird for people. They're like, you forgot to ask me for this resume. And I'm like, listen, I want to see motivation
Yeah.
and I want to see who you are. You know, you're kind of,
Yep.
for lack of better words, kind of following the program.
Yeah.
And then I want to see a paper version of you. A paper version of you is great.
Yeah.
It gives me a little piece, and that piece is important,
Yeah.
but not as important as just finding out who this person is without a bunch of ChatGPT and bullet points and
Totally.
dates. It's
And I feel
less
like
important.
y'all have been doing this for a while now, well before ChatGPT could just manufacture
Yes.
resumes so easily, right? Like to me, it's like it's incredible how forward facing this has always been.
Yeah.
Like you've been ahead of it, like you are with a lot of things.
Yeah.
So it's this idea of like, don't tell me your experience. Let me see what you're kind of made of.
Yeah.
Is more important. Like, do you have the right stuff to like sit in this seat based on like a scientific method thing that allows me to sort through before I even like take time to read 100 resumes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you start there. That seems super efficient. And then the next one is a conversation. And what I couldn't help but listen to, what I heard in how you represented that conversation was it's more about them. Like, a lot of folks, the questions that you hear in a typical job interview when you think about it, of when I was doing it wrong, when I was mid-level manager in a company,
Yeah.
it's all kind of like, what have you done? And like, what have, like, it's all kind of like experience based. The questions that you just brought up in this conversation were more just kind of like, what are you looking for?
Yeah. And here's the thing too. Again, if you're coming on our team and I don't know, you're going to be a controller on the accounting team, you have to have a level of experience. We're certainly going to ask you about that and dive more into that. Sure. But a lot of our roles, we can teach you. We have these amazing training programs in place. We've been doing this a long time. We can teach you. I cannot teach you and do not want to attempt to teach you anything to do with mindset, right? And how you behave.
Yeah.
Those things are innate. If you're coming with the right person, the right attitude, depending again on what you're coming on for, like we can mold it and make it work. And we've done that over and over and over. And we have this, I mean, look at me. I didn't know what I was walking into. And they've given me the tools and given me the free rein and said, hey, we trust in you and believe in you and are going to give you the backing. And that's happened time and time again with folks that have been on our team for many years. And it's beautiful to see. So.
Yeah. That's interesting, right? Like the experience is kind of like the commodity. It's the mindset and the soft skills and the people skills and like, the person. What I'm hearing first is kind of like, what are your ingredients? That's kind of like the culture index, right?
Yeah.
To make a good recipe.
Yeah.
So we can, there's like a level of confidence of taking the right ingredients and putting them in, giving them like the tools you need to cook.
Absolutely.
Then there's like kind of like, what are you actually like looking for, and what do you like? You're looking for these kind of like soft skill things that you don't necessarily see in a recipe. In a resume, you get to know it from understanding what someone's mindset is, what they're seeking for themselves. Like, are they growth minded? You know that this is a place that will continue to be, will continue to push you forward, and you'll need to evolve. So like whatever you are today isn't what's going to get you there. Like you're going to have to surround them with stuff. And I just find that whole piece of it, of just like the confidence of knowing that what you really need is kind of like the ingredients and the soft skills, because everything else, that you're going to surround them with to then give them the opportunity to become that person. Not necessarily, it's not like how good are you at Excel necessarily, as much as like how willing are you to learn Excel or AI when AI comes in and replaces Excel, right? Because things change.
Right. And I think, what's that saying? That rising tide lifts all boats, right?
Yeah.
It's cliche for a reason. It's true. I think, we're looking for folks that continually can elevate us, elevate this company.
Yeah.
So that, again, when we present ourselves to the world, in whatever world you're in, whether that's your teammate, whether that's, our amazing clients, whether that's our amazing residents, our community, it's the right type of folks. So we're constantly wanting to level up. We constantly are, wanting to be better than we are today. And you want to surround yourself with those people. It rubs off, right? So
that's I love that. I love that because it's not just you've built an operationally excellent place, but you're the average of the 5 people you hang out around, right? So it's like maybe I'm coming in and I might not have everything in my skill set, but like you put me in the right environment and I'm just gonna be like, well, if Laura's this awesome, like, and I have the type of mindset that I'm like, I'm not the type of person that gets left behind.
Yeah.
I'm gonna figure out how to be as awesome as Laura.
Well, you're gonna get left behind.
Or you're gonna get left behind, right?
It's what you were saying before we got on the show about you running with Greg, right?
Yeah.
You wanted to spend more time with Greg, and then you did, and you built this amazing relationship. And I think, again, you put intentionality and motivation and effort into that. So
intentionality, motivation, effort, paired with the right ingredients.
Yeah.
And then now let's do a dress rehearsal, right? Like come to the office and see what it's like. You didn't mention this, but you do this on Tuesdays, right? So that they come to
We try
TMM.
to. Yes. Yeah. We try to do it on Tuesdays if possible. Yeah. TMM usually blows people's mind. It's
it blew my mind.
They're like, what? Why are you saying nice things about each other? Yeah. What? I've never seen that before in a company. And to me, this is not necessarily, I had some professional experience before this, but this has obviously been somewhere that I've grown up. I've built my life here.
Yep.
And so to me, it's very normal. But to have folks come in and sit through this Tuesday morning meeting and they're like, I have never seen people interact that way with each other. It makes me a little sad, number one, that's not happening. Yeah. But B, that shows me that what we are doing is unique and special. And that, again, it hopefully is attracting those folks to.
Yeah. And I just, to catch everybody up, I feel like if you've been around here for a long time, I'm obsessed with the Tuesday morning meeting because it did that for me.
Yeah.
Right. Like I remember when I was trying to win this contract and Greg's like, well, anybody that we're going to bring on as a vendor, we expect them to come to this like all hands meeting. I'm like, I hate meetings.
You're like, I'm not going to be able to do that.
Like I have a rampant ADD, right? Like I'm just like, oh my God, I'm an hour with a bunch of people. Like my palms start sweating. And when I walked in, the moment that the Tuesday morning meeting started, I was like, wow, this is super different. This really is the type of company that we can build a community around and build a story around. Yeah. Precisely because of this. And it's for anybody that doesn't know what the Tuesday morning meeting is, it's JWB's all hands meeting that you do every single week on Tuesdays, hence the name.
Yep.
In the morning.
So original. TMM. Yeah.
And it starts off first with reading reviews and like acknowledgments from clients. Testimonials from residents, which builds up this like positive kind of like reinforcement that what we're doing is good and people love what we do. Then there's a part where y'all do core values call outs and people get to stand up and acknowledge one of their peers based on a behavior that they displayed over the last week that exemplifies the core values of JWB. Right. That to me is like a brilliant feedback loop of positive reinforcement of the right things. Right. The core values, keeping them present, the way that you act, keeping that present. And hey, you know that like if you can work on being like a better public speaker by complimenting others, that's a really good life skill.
100%.
Right?
100%.
Then you go into some kind of like, I call it kind of like it's, culture, right? That's the resumes and the core values call out. Then I call it visibility. Then you have one department usually report on in-depth part of something that they're doing. Yes. So people can like over time understand what everybody else does and what the other functions in the company. And then you have, so it's like culture, visibility, and then accountability. Then you have every department come up and say, last week we set this goal. This is what we did.
Our prediction.
Good or bad. And next week we're predicting this. I've copied this, like Joanna, who's on the call right now. Like we've copied this one-to-one in my business. I think you can do this at every level because it's so effective on this kind of like, this is how you get 120 people rowing in the same direction And I can only imagine the same way that me as like a vendor coming into it, someone that's like a last round of interviews, like if they're not like, this is the best thing ever, then this is not the place for you.
Then it's probably not a great fit.
Yeah.
And I think something you just said, going in a different direction, that's what it's for. It's for that alignment with the core values.
Yeah.
You could have a completely different set of core values, totally fine.
Yeah.
We can be friends, right?
Yeah.
It probably won't have a super long runway if we're totally going in different directions constantly and we're kind of railing against each other. So we're not looking for people to mirror us.
Yeah.
We're looking for folks that want to go in the same direction as us.
Yeah.
So
that buy into under promising and over delivering.
Yes,
Buy
that's
into
super
like,
important.
my team is my family and like stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. And then the rest of the shadow day, do they actually perform the task? Is it like a dress rehearsal, or are they just watching people do the job and observing?
So there's a shadowing component. We call it a shadow. So definitely heavy on the shadowing component. And then they get some hands-on, right? So are you going to like being a property manager if you've never been a property manager before? Maybe, maybe not. But what if we have you dress rehearsal? Let's try it out. Pick up the phone. Let's call the resident together. Let's hear how the call goes. Let's have you kind of physically go through the steps and emotionally and all the things that I'm sure they're going through, but it's for their benefit. We, again, usually have a much better understanding when we walk away on both sides on if this is going to be a long-term fit. I don't have a crystal ball. I literally wish I would, because I would have that Powerball, in my pocket, which I don't. But what I can tell you is, again, we put the intentionality and effort hopefully on the front end for our benefit in there so that we can have that long-term fit. It's really important for us to do that. And so again, I mean, to me, to me, this sounds very common sense and we do this, but then again, I see people again coming in for these shadows, or they email me after the interview, or when they get a response from us and they're like, wow, you guys make me feel so comfortable, or wow, I never hear back this quickly, or, wow, I loved the shadow and I love seeing the office. And then I realized, okay, maybe it's not as common sense.
I think it's common sense, but it's not common, right? It's kind of like it's simple,
but it's not put into play.
It's simple, but it's not easy.
Yeah.
Because most people, when they need to hire people, they need them right now.
Right now.
Yeah.
Right.
So
or yesterday.
So this idea, or yesterday, right? So
yeah.
like this idea of creating this kind of like elongated. Lee asked the question, right? Like, what's the typical time period of like probation or whatever? It sounds like a 3-week kind of process.
Yeah, I mean, it obviously depends if the person is currently employed and they need a little bit more of a runway there before they're taking a bunch of PTO to interview with us. But we'll work with you. But if you're ready to go, we're ready to go. People ask me all the time, like, when does this job close? Or, when are you looking to fill this position? Is it, by the end of the month or by the end of the quarter? Answer every time is when we find the right person. If you're the right person, let's go. Like, let's do this. Let's get through this interview and let's get you on our team and we're ready to rock.
And that's another thing, right? Like there's a podcast that I'm obsessed with these days, the Founders Podcast. This guy, all he does is like read like the history's greatest founders and like read their biographies and compare how so it's like everybody from like, like John Rockefeller to Elon Musk to like Mark Twain to Michael Jordan.
Okay.
Like world's greatest performers at things that have biographies, compares them. One of the things that, one of the latest episodes talked about, this guy, Brad Jacobs, talks about it is more detrimental to have somebody in the wrong role than to have an open role. Right. So like,
true.
Right.
It is so true.
Well, tell me more about that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we've all been in situations where we needed to hire right meow yesterday, right? We have had that many times where we're, maybe in a pinch and we would love to have the right person today. And we've made mistakes along the way, right? Where we're rushing things and things aren't perfectly aligned and we're not giving that intentionality and that time and effort. And then again, there's a fizzle point, right? Yep. We didn't pay enough attention to how this is going to be a great mutual fit, and maybe we put the wrong person in the wrong seat. And it gives us that time again. We're okay to pivot to say we need to pay more attention. We need to slow down. We need to be all hands on deck and help our team while we work to find that right person. It pays off in dividends if you can have the right person in the right seat.
That's when I hear, as a customer of JWB's, this is where it becomes very valuable to me.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
All about me.
like,
Yeah, I'm paying attention. Yeah,
for
yeah,
sure,
yeah, yeah,
right? Like,
yeah.
this is just like your ability to make sure that the person that is holding on to like at least for me personally,
Sure,
it's the biggest part of my investment portfolio,
sure,
right? Like it's the most,
sure.
it's the biggest part of my investment portfolio. It's also the most emotional part of my investment portfolio,
100%.
right? So like this person that is either managing my property or telling me about my returns or, anything else, or giving me advice on like what's next or taking my mortgage payment, whatever it is, like this person has the opportunity to make my wife really mad at me.
100%.
Right. So I don't want, I rather if you can't put someone there that can like give me a good experience,
Yep.
I'd rather you just not do it, like,
Yeah, and same. I mean,
yeah,
we are also clients. My husband and I
yeah,
also have rental properties. We're private investors.
yeah,
And so we're also emotionally invested in this. And I am hiring the people that we're interacting with. So it is a unique situation. And I think, our clients, they're intentional about their returns and they're intentional about
so,
the moves that they make and their investments. And they're looking for a company that is going to mirror that intentionality. Can you imagine you call in and it's just somebody that doesn't care and doesn't have that ownership on and doesn't show up? Like that's not going to work.
no.
It's not going to work.
Like
It's
we're
not
the,
going to
we're
work.
the not your average investor community for a reason, right? Like
That's
everybody's
right.
here because they took a conscious decision
Yep.
that it's like, hey, I know that this asset class burns a lot of people,
Yeah.
but the people that do it right do really, really well. So I need to do this really, really
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah. And I
it's
think,
got to mirror that experience.
people's perception is their reality. So, that the first impression,
100%. First impression. Well,
top
and
notch.
and what I love about this is that you understand that first impression from a company to your client standpoint, but you also understand the first impression in your story, like the employer brand first impression is huge, and you've created this like phenomenal experience as a first impression
Yeah.
that sets a really high bar of like what I'm stepping into, and now forever my thought is anchored towards like, well, this is the thing I stepped into. I got to live up to
Yeah.
this.
When I started, and even in the years past, and
Yeah.
as we grew, it didn't seem as important in the sense that we were still a little guy and, could pivot a little easier. And now people know who we are. I mean,
Yeah,
we're here.
that's true.
People know us.
Yeah, 8,000 doors in Jacksonville, and you're developing the urban core.
That's right.
People know who you are.
Deeply, deeply rooted in our community.
Yeah.
And so it is a big deal. I personally put a lot of intentionality, that is my word for the show,
Yeah, true.
into the decisions that I make and the way that I interact with the folks that are potentially going to then, put JWB on their LinkedIn profile or their Facebook or their socials, because it is a big deal. They are an extension of our company. Once they say, hey, I'm going to slap JWB on a logo on my shirt, it's a big deal.
Big deal.
Big deal.
You mentioned something a second ago, which reminds me, it's a lot easier to have a really difficult hiring,
So hard.
a time-consuming, deliberate hiring process.
Yeah.
When it's a lot easier to do that when you have a line out the door of people wanting to work for you.
Yeah.
And I get the sense that JWB has become a talent destination. You
Yeah.
have more people looking for the role
Sure.
based on not just the role and needing a button to seat, but like, oh, JWB is the company that I've been wanting to work for because I want to be
Sure.
this kind of person.
Sure.
I can imagine that in the early days it was different, right? Like you're also in charge of recruiting. Tell me kind of like how recruiting and getting talent to fill the pipeline to then go through this process has evolved.
Yeah, I mean, again, this process was so different when I started. I didn't know who JWB was. No one really knew who we were. We were kind of just this little fish and making this cool thing. So this is actually funny. We used to have an elevator speech that we would teach the employees so that they kind of knew what they did and what we did as a company. And we started really saying like, hey, if you run out and you talk to somebody in the community, you can say this and they'll know, what that is. And we're JWB. And this is after we rebranded our name. And now people are flocking to us, right?
Yeah.
Whether that's not just necessarily only to work here, but again, they know who we are. They see us in the community, they rent from us, they see our signs. And so I think, again, it's a big deal. People know who we are. So when they show up for these interviews, sometimes they just are excited to talk to somebody from JWB, right? I'm like, why is this role a fit? And they're like, to be honest, I'll do any role. I want to be part of it. And sometimes that works great and we can make that happen. We've done that many times where folks have, maybe interviewed for something, but again, we're looking for that kind of mindset, that stuff that's on the inside, right? And we're like, hey, that person was awesome. That's not a seat fit for them, but they want to be a part of us, and that we're showing that fit here. What about this other open role? And we've done that time and time again with people that are still on our team because it's a fit, right? So we love that. But yeah, we definitely attract a lot of really cool folks that just want to be a part of what we're doing here and where we're going. And I think that's cool.
I'd love to hear more about how kind of like you built the engine before you had this effect. But first, it's like, this is a big reason why I like to tell people that, to me, JWB reminds me much more of like Amazon than it does of like Coldwell Banker or whatever, right?
Yeah,
Like
Jeff Bezos in his garage.
I just, you hear from people, or like Apple or whatever, right? Like it is a place, it's something like people are like, they aspire to work at Apple or at Google or Facebook or what, right? Like that's so, it is so rare to be a local company that works in the local economy that has that halo effect of like people want to work there. I think the other one that I think of is Haskell. Like I feel like Haskell here in Jacksonville has a halo effect like that that attracts people as well. And it's such like a rarity that you don't find in a small to medium sized business, which I think is really interesting.
And I think, we're having people still moving to Jacksonville. Jacksonville is still a really good real estate market. So we still have people coming here, but I also think our actual kind of like, we're a little bit of a secret hidden gem that there's great opportunities here for employment. And so that I think works to our advantage. So we're able to kind of scoop up some of those awesome people.
So how do you scoop people up? So talk to me about before this was like a talent destination.
Yep.
Right? Like before when it was like
talent destination.
When you had like an employee pitch to like explain what you were. How did you build like the recruitment engine to fill that front end?
Yeah. So, I mean, this was not all me. We have an amazing leadership team that really helped build it. But I think, again, we kind of tossed out what we were doing. We said, we're going to keep parts of it. The A player, our questionnaire, we still have that because I think that's amazing. And it's very OG. JWB kept that. But we really started to say, how are we going to attract the right people? Not only attract them, how are we going to hire them and treat them throughout the recruiting process? Not only that, how are we going to onboard them? Not only that, how are we going to train them? And then not only that, how are we going to keep them? Our goal used to be, we used to joke about it all the time, was 100 years, right? This is it. And that's not always the case, right? Again, things have evolved, but the front end part of that is the exact same. We care about that whole process and really setting that person up for success. And so you kind of work backwards. We didn't have the shadow, that third phase, until maybe 5 years ago. And again, we used to interview in person. This is fun. This is interesting. We used to have our candidates come in. We would put them in a room. We would give them a lined sheet of paper or a little notebook and a pen. And we would say, write 5 questions that you want us to ask you at the beginning of this interview.
Oh, interesting.
It was wild. It was very interesting. Yeah. And so again, that was really cool. It taught us a bunch of things about, what's important to people. And then we just started using a lot of those questions in the way that we interact. So we use a lot of behavioral questions. That's how we chat with our candidates. And so all those different experiences, the phone interview, we used to do a phone interview. And I actually remember this. We encourage people in our interview setting, be honest, right? Yeah. Tell us area of opportunity, be honest. Adam Eisman, our CEO, asked me in my interview, like, what's something you don't like it, right? And I was like, I hate talking on the phone. Hate it, do not like it. He looked so perplexed. He's like, that's our first round interview here. And I'm like, I'm going to do it flawlessly. Yeah. It's going to be 10 out of 10 interview. I just won't enjoy it. It is not something I like to do,
Yeah.
right? And I think he really obviously appreciated that honesty. But we have used, again, even if it's a practice we don't use anymore, we don't do the phone interview anymore. We don't do that, cute little practice on the pad anymore. We've added on the shadow. We added on the predictive index. We did not have that before. And that's been amazing for our team. But we're continually building that. So we're adding these pieces. Sometimes we're stripping away a piece for that experience for the candidate.
Yeah.
Because if we get the right candidate, everybody wins. So again, it's always tinkering with it to get the outcome we need for that so that JWB can do what JWB is doing, which is being awesome in Jacksonville, right? Come work for us.
Yeah.
This is my plug.
This is it.
Yeah, JWB career site. I have a few positions open.
We are definitely going to repurpose this so you can use this
Yes.
JWB career site.
So I love it.
It reminds me of one of your core values, which is you're either growing or dying.
Yeah, I love
core
that.
value.
Yes,
Right? Like
yes.
it feels like this process is part of that, right? Like
Yes.
how the interview process continues to grow to right size like what you need in a teammate as like the company continues to evolve and you know more about yourself and whatever. Really, really important. If I was to, I write like a newsletter about each of these kind of each of these episodes, right? Like I think the newsletter here is kind of the secret to building a really great team is intentionality. And it starts with first impressions, like all things do. It's like what first impression they're going to give, which means you got to give a good first impression.
Yeah.
How you create a process to like understand their intentions and what they're built of, and their like the recipe that you like to have to mold, and then kind of like how you are able to, how that matures over time in a way to provide that. You said intentionality is the word of the day. You also said you hate talking on phones, but we talked before this about kind of like, do you have like a personal mantra of things that you either tell your kids or tell your teammates or something like that? I'd love to get into that.
Yeah. I shared with Pablo when we were chatting before, I have 3 little girls and I tell them mostly every day on the way to school, I just want you to do your best. And when you're doing your personal best versus faking it a little, right? So if you're truly doing your best, you're putting your best foot forward, you're acting with intentionality, that's what I want out of you. I'm not looking for perfection. I'm not looking for some baseline or some standard. That's what I want for my kids. And that's what I want for our staff, right? So I think it's and again, I think I told you that for my kids, but it's the same. And maybe it's a professional spin on that, and that we want folks here, and I think I started this whole talk with you surrounding this. We're going to put a deep level of care into how we present ourselves to every single person we're chatting with, whether that's a candidate, whether that's you, whether that's a client, whether that's a resident, whether that's the UPS guy, and I think that's it. It's put care and intentionality into how you present. And the rest of the pieces, I'm telling you, are probably going to fall into place. Yeah. We want to be around people that when I see, Greg in the parking lot and I say, how was your weekend? I'm sticking around. Like, I want to hear his answer. Yeah. Right? Yeah. I don't want to just. Yeah. You care. I'm here all day. Yeah. I want to know you. I want to be a part of your life. I want us to scratch each other's backs and really be present. I want us to be present here so that we can put out the best version of ourselves and then start again tomorrow. That's the people we want. Not surprising that the person in charge of like the front door of culture there's a giant team that really cares. Yeah. Like if this is your philosophy, you've designed it all around it. Yeah. Like I think when I say this place feels like the Chick-fil-A or the In-N-Out of it's our pleasure of investing. It really is. That's what I mean. Yeah. It's like everybody that you talk to inside this building, you get this deep sense of care that shows up in like how they, not just that they get it done, but how they treat you and how they make you feel as they are getting it done. I think it's really cool. I mean, like we all take out the trash. Like literally, we physically take out the trash. Yeah. It's our responsibility, right? Yeah. This is our campus. This is our place. Yeah. I think you've done an amazing job here. Like really impressive. Thanks. Very cool. But, you guys should come check it out. Yeah, just come check it out. Come check it out. When?
The JWB Summit, February 19th to 21st, 2026. Go to jwbrealestatecapital.com/summit to get your ticket right now. You got to put in Summit 26. We go on sale to the general public next week, so that'll sell out in a couple of days. Joanna just put it in the chat. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, I loved it.
I've wanted to, as you can probably tell by like our conversations about this, I have been obsessed with the JWB culture and the HR mechanisms of it all for a long time, and I've wanted this conversation for a really, really long time. So I appreciate you doing this on December 30th.
Yeah, Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year coming up. I want to thank the community, right? Like those of you that show up on a holiday week, like this is a tough week to show up, but you still take an hour out of either your work week or your vacation to come here to learn about the best practices in real estate investing. Be a part of the community. I can't wait to see you all in, I guess it's about 8 weeks now. A little bit less than that, about 7 weeks.
Awesome.
In the summit for you to come here. So thank you, community, for making this great. Thank you for like a really, really awesome year that we've had. We'll be doing some really cool recaps next week. But up until then, we always leave people with one piece of advice. It's care more, but what else, Laura?
Be intentional.
Be intentional and don't be
average.